The grand chandelier sparkled above the marble floors of Westwood Academy, where the annual winter gala was set to take place. Students whispered about who was going with whom, who wore the most expensive gown, and which luxury car would pull up outside the event. It was a night of glitter, status, and appearances. A night where social ranks were silently but powerfully displayed. Among the sea of silk dresses and polished shoes walked Lily Hartman, one of the most popular girls in school. She had long blonde hair, piercing blue eyes, and a last name that made heads turn. Her father was a real estate mogul with properties across the country. Her life seemed perfect, but behind the carefully curated Instagram photos and flawless designer outfits, Lily carried a loneliness she rarely spoke about. As she walked down the hall, invitations in hand, her friends giggled about their dates. "Ryan's picking me up in his dad's Bentley," one girl bragged. "My boyfriend's flying in just for the night," another chimed. Lily forced a smile but stayed quiet. The truth was, no one had asked her yet. She had rejected a few offers from boys who only wanted to be seen with her, not really with her. She wanted something different, something genuine. Later that day, while grabbing her books from her locker, she noticed a man on his knees nearby, scrubbing the floors with a worn-out mop. His hands were rough, his uniform faded, but his movements were steady, almost dignified. This was Daniel, the school janitor. He worked long hours, often late into the evening, and was known for being kind, respectful, and always willing to help. Most students ignored him, some even made fun of him, but Lily often found herself watching quietly as he worked, admiring the quiet resilience in his eyes. He wasn't rich. He didn't wear fancy clothes or drive a sports car. But every time someone dropped their books, he bent down to help. Every time a student was crying in the hallway, he offered a tissue. He didn't speak much, but when he did, his words carried warmth. That evening, while walking past the empty gym where Daniel was stacking chairs, Lily stopped. She hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath. "Mr. Daniel?" she called softly. He turned, wiping his hands on a rag. "Yes, Miss Hartman. Do you need something?" Her heart raced as she blurted out, "Will you be my date to the party?" The silence that followed was deafening. Daniel blinked, unsure if he had heard her correctly. "Excuse me?" he asked, his brows furrowed. "You heard me," she said, her voice trembling but firm. "I want you to come with me to the winter gala, as my date." Daniel let out a nervous laugh, shaking his head. "Miss Hartman, I think you're joking. I'm the janitor." "I'm not, I don't belong at a party like that." But Lily stepped closer, her eyes glistening with sincerity. "I'm not joking. I don't care what anyone thinks. I want to go with someone who's kind, someone real, and that's you." Daniel's chest tightened. He thought about the whispers, the ridicule, the harsh judgment that would surely follow. He imagined students pointing, parents gossiping, and teachers raising their brows. But he also saw the honesty in Lily's eyes, the kind of honesty people rarely showed him. That night, Daniel went home to his small apartment on the edge of town. He sat in his worn recliner, staring at the cracked ceiling, wrestling with the decision. He had spent his whole life blending into the background, working hard but unnoticed. Why would someone like her want him to step into the spotlight? It didn't make sense. But then he thought about something his late wife used to say. Sometimes the world needs to see that kindness is worth more than gold. The day of the party arrived, and the school buzzed with anticipation. Luxury cars lined the entrance, and cameras flashed as students posed in their gowns and tuxedos. Lily arrived in a sleek black dress that shimmered under the lights, her hair cascading like waves of silk. But what stunned everyone was who stepped out of the modest car beside her. Daniel, dressed in a rented suit, his hair neatly combed, his eyes filled with both nervousness and quiet pride. Gasps echoed across the courtyard. Whispers spread like wildfire. "Is that the janitor? Why would she bring him? This has to be a joke." But Lily stood tall, her hand slipping confidently into Daniel's arm. Together, they walked through the golden-lit entrance, ignoring the stairs. Inside, the music thumped, chandeliers glistened, and laughter filled the air. Daniel felt out of place, every fiber of his being screaming that he didn't belong. But Lily never let go of his arm, guiding him through conversations and even introducing him proudly to her friends. Most of them looked stunned, a few even sneered. One of the boys, clearly jealous, approached with a mocking grin. "Nice choice, Lily. Couldn't find a real date?" he sneered, eyeing Daniel with disdain. Before Lily could respond, Daniel spoke, his voice calm but firm. A real date isn't about how much money someone has or what they wear. It's about respect, kindness, and being there when it matters. The boy's smirk faded, and for the first time that night, the room fell silent. Lily's eyes shone with pride. As the night went on, something incredible happened. Slowly, people began to notice Daniel's sincerity, the way he carried himself with quiet dignity. When he spoke, he didn't try to impress, he simply listened and answered with thoughtfulness. Teachers who had worked alongside him for years watched in awe, realizing how little they truly knew about the man who kept their school clean. The highlight of the evening came when the music slowed, and couples drifted onto the dance floor. Lily looked up at Daniel with a soft smile. "Dance with me?" she asked. He hesitated, his palms sweaty, but she pulled him gently toward the center. As the soft melody filled the hall, they moved together, the crowd watching in stunned silence. For that moment, all the whispers, all the judgments, faded away. All anyone could see was a girl and a man dancing. Not a rich student and a janitor, but two souls connected by something far greater than appearances. Halfway through the dance, something unexpected happened. Lily's father, Richard Hartman, walked into the ballroom. His towering figure and commanding presence made the crowd part instantly. He had been away on business and had come to surprise his daughter. When his eyes fell on Daniel holding Lily's hand, his face hardened. He stormed across the floor, his voice cutting through the music. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded. The room froze. Lily swallowed hard but stood her ground. "Dad, this is Daniel, he's my date." Her father's face reddened with disbelief. "Your date? He's the janitor. Do you have any idea how this makes us look?" Daniel felt the sting of humiliation, ready to step back, but Lily squeezed his hand tightly. "I don't care how it looks. He's the only one who treated me like I was more than just a name, more than just money. He's here because I wanted him here." The room went quiet, all eyes fixed on the confrontation. For a moment, it seemed like Richard would explode. But then, something shifted in his expression. He looked at his daughter, really looked at her, for the first time in a long time. Her voice shook with emotion, her eyes pleading for him to understand. Richard glanced at Daniel, the man who had silently worked in the shadows of his daughter's school, never asking for recognition. For the first time, Richard saw more than just a janitor. He saw a man of integrity, someone his daughter respected enough to stand up for. Daniel straightened his shoulders, meeting Richard's gaze. "Sir, I never meant to cause trouble. Your daughter asked me to come, and I didn't want to embarrass her. I don't have wealth or status, but I do know how to treat people with kindness." Silence hung heavy in the air. Finally, Richard let out a long breath and muttered, "Maybe that's worth more than I thought." The tension broke, and the music resumed. Daniel and Lily continued their dance, her father watching quietly from the sidelines, a newfound respect flickering in his eyes. By the end of the night, the whispers had changed. Students who had once sneered now approached Daniel with hesitant smiles, some even apologizing for how they had treated him before. Lily's bold choice had cracked the surface of their shallow world, revealing something deeper, something real. As the gala came to an end, Lily and Daniel stepped outside into the crisp winter air. Snowflakes drifted from the sky, landing softly on their shoulders. Daniel turned to her, his voice low. "Lily, tonight was unexpected. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but thank you for seeing me." She smiled, her eyes shining. "No thank you, Daniel, for reminding me what really matters." And with that, they walked side by side into the night, their footprints trailing in the snow, leaving behind whispers that would not soon be forgotten.